looks like it's going to be a two-horse race for the championship now between Oliveira and Bagnaia, with Marquez, the man who was third in the championship and still is, losing a handful of points. He's now 53 back in third position. And it was noticeable during the commentary, which again, I know, Joy, you haven't heard because you were there trackside, but Keith Ewan was already saying before Marquez fell off that this is a rider who just seems, for a rider of his experience in this class, still makes too many mistakes, and then he goes and crashes and makes another one. And to quote exactly what you put on Twitter when he crashed on Sunday, Alex Marquez is never going to be the guy we want him to be, is he? And I don't know whether that's something that's just occurred to you or occurred to anyone just this weekend, or whether it's always been a feeling that we've had with Alex Marquez, but the race at Brno just kind of crystallised it, didn't it?
It did. I mean, we're now halfway through Marquez's fourth season in Moto2, and he's got another extension next year. He's got a very fast teammate again next year, which could be a problem. More on that a little bit later on in the show.
It's been his problem for the last 2 years.
Yeah, jeez, there's no getting around it. Alex, no, it just doesn't seem like he's quite good enough to be the guy. Like, let's be real here. We want him to be as good as his brother. We'd love to see. I think we'd all love to see two Marquezes in the top flight, and maybe even what we saw in testing a few years back when there was two Marquezes in the same team, both driving for Repsol Honda. That would be an incredible story. That would be one of motorsport's most incredible stories, to have two Marquez brothers be world champions and both in the same team. But I think Hewan's right. I think he is a guy that just makes too many errors, and it's a shame because the talent is there. It's more than that. He's dominated Moto2 races in the past. He's got the skill and ability to beat anyone he likes on his day. But Brno, again, was just another one of those narrative sort of moments where it's like, oh no, Alex has made another critical error in the middle of a Grand Prix where, again, he was fighting for the win. He's just gone in too hot on the final corner, and he literally crashes right in front of the main grandstand, and you could hear the shock of Marquez hitting the canvas on that one. Luckily, he was okay.
Toseland said as well on commentary, he says, and obviously Toseland knows that circuit very well, he says there are a lot of corners at Brno that are very easy to crash on, but he said that final corner is very hard to crash on. He says you have to make a pretty big error to crash there. And that's what Alex Marquez did, and it was a fascinating debate. And I think Toseland is brilliant on commentary, I have to say.
He really is.
Sport, not just in terms of reading a race, but just his knowledge and the way he articulates it. And it was there was a very fascinating debate that they had about Alex Marquez mid-race during the Moto2 race, where, and this is a point I've made in the past about Romano Fenati in Moto3, where it's like the best thing for him, I think, is just to get him out of that class and get him up into the next class above, so he can just have a change of bike. And he may well prove to be very, very good on a MotoGP bike, but the way rate he's going, he's never going to earn the opportunity to prove it.
I think it's time to move on, and if he moves on and does get the Ducati opportunity in MotoGP and he jumps on that bike and all of a sudden he can take to it and get some decent results from it, I think then that will be a nice surprise, a refreshing surprise for everybody, that everybody gets back behind him and believes in him. If he stays in Moto2 and keeps on doing this bridesmaid performance, he's going to find it very, very difficult to further his career.
Why would you want to employ him in MotoGP then?
Well, that's what I'm saying. You wouldn't, would you? But he is a name. He's a fantastic rider. Is a
lots of them.
Is a front, exactly, and that's the name of the game. There's a lot of good people in Moto2, and he's one of them. But unfortunately, he doesn't look like he's just got that extra bit that the other people that have gone through the ranks before him and coming through him now, even his teammate Johannes Meyer jumped him. It's difficult.
By his performances in Moto2, and that's kind of the point that Toseland was making. He was like, I kind of want to see him on a MotoGP bike. It's time he got on a MotoGP bike now, and he referenced the fact that he might still get one with the Avintia team in MotoGP next year. And Keith Ewan made the very legitimate point that he said, well, why would a team in MotoGP, why would they sign Alex? And Toseland will said, well, Toseland said, well, he is a very, very good young rider, and Keith Ewan immediately said, yeah, but there's loads of those, and he's right. And he said that if you're signing Alex Marquez, what are you getting? And Toseland said, well, you're getting a name, as well as the sort of the talent that we think he has, but unfortunately, the name isn't going to be enough for Alex. He's let's not get this twisted. We're not criticizing what he's achieved. He's had a terrific career, even if he retires now.
He's a world
champion. He's a Moto3 world champion. But as Dre rightly says, we're often looking at Alex Marquez through the eyes of he's Marc Marquez's brother, so we want him to be what Marc Marquez is. It's the Ralph Schumacher syndrome, and it's not Alex Marquez's fault.
It's unfair because you're comparing him to one of the greatest seen. And
exactly, and he's for any rider of any measure to be third in the Moto2 World Championship, that's not exactly a bad season he's having. But for a rider who, and he himself will surely have desires of being a MotoGP rider himself in the future, but it just looks as if that he's never quite going to be that good to be a MotoGP rider. And I dare say, Dre, if you put him on a MotoGP bike, he may well be capable of the kind of results we've seen from the likes of Zarco and of Folger in recent years. But the chances are we're never going to find out because unfortunately you have to reach a certain level on a Moto2 bike to justify that promotion. And I'm not sure Alex Marquez will ever quite reach that level.
I mean, you want my 2 cents on this? I mean, again, because the thing is, like, I've not seen the races on TV since I got back, and that seems like I might have to go out of my way to see, because that seems like a very interesting debate, because I completely agree. I think Tozen's the best in the business right now. I think he's fantastic. He really does his homework, and the way he articulates that in the middle of a live broadcast and on commentary is very impressive. I think Tozen's fantastic. So when he talks, I listen. And yeah, a very intriguing debate. And I think they're both right. I don't think there's a wrong answer. I think the trend of Moto2 and the way this rookie class has performed in MotoGP, the rookies in general have been pretty good this year. And especially because it's from riders who you probably didn't think was going to hit the ground running as well as they have. I think the only really disappointing rookie, who thought Hafiz Siren would be top rookie halfway through the season? Yeah. Anyone at all? Put your hand down, you're a liar. Like Frankie Morbidelli's had good races. Hafiz Siren has been fantastic, given the fact he had even less time to get used to the sport compared to all the other rookies. Thomas Luthi, I think, has been the only slightly disappointing rookie. And even then, a lot of that is down to the fact he started the off-season with a broken ankle and missed a critical test. He's always been playing catch-up, Luthi. And, the rookies have been impressive because there were riders that didn't have the greatest of reputations in Moto2, but with a new bike and a new outlook, performed well. Taka Nakagami and Hafiz Siren are probably the 2 biggest walk-in examples of that going into this season. And I don't think there's any, I could go back another year. Look at Jonas Volger. Did anybody think Volger was going to be that good as a rookie, given his Moto2 career was one where he had legitimate concerns about how fast he could be, given his Moto2 career was often inconsistent. He would win it. It was a win it or bin it sort of rider. And then he had a couple of very good performances in Tech 3, and if anything, was kind of overshadowed by how great Zarco's rookie year was. It could be the same deal with someone like Alex Marquez. I think Tozen is right. I think he probably would be doing a bit better now being on a MotoGP bike. Because, how much do you expect Marquez to really improve on that 600cc MotoGP?
What is there left for him to learn in Moto2?
Like, this is his 4th season. He's not going to get any better. And you know what? Triumph coming in next year is going to push the reset button and everything anyway. I think at this point, it's almost pointless keeping Marquez around. Now, I think a lot of that is unfortunately also down to the fact that VDS don't have their grid slots anymore in MotoGP, and they're effectively downsizing by just having a Moto2 and 3 team next year, which is a shame because I think
Marquez he probably would have been next in line.
Yeah, I think Marquez would have been next in line if they knew how their grid slots. Well, unfortunately, they were owned by Marco Bartolome, and we all know how well that situation broke up with Mark VDS. But I think Marquez is caught between a rock and a hard place. He's not going to get any better. He knows the bike, he knows the team, he knows the structure. He's not going to get any better in there. He's probably better off just being in MotoGP. But as you say, the results are kind of making it hard to justify putting him in MotoGP because there's more exciting talent around him. If you had a choice right now, would you be signing Alex Marquez or Lorenzo Baldassarri? You're probably signing Baldassarri the way the season's playing out so far. Bagnaya's walking into, a really good Pramac team next year on a GP18. And you've got another walking example. Miguel Oliveira's going to Tech 3. He's already got his future confirmed. He's going to be spearheading the young rider team of Tech 3 next year. And Joan Mir's walking into a factory seat next year at Suzuki. So his own teammate who's been in the class for, what, 8 races beforehand when he got the Suzuki deal announced? Like, Alex Marquez is, like, almost old news now, and Toseland's right.
He's almost the new Thomas Luthi.
I didn't want to say that, but yeah, that's all I was thinking. I don't want him to be the next gatekeeper, because that's what he feels like at the moment. He feels like he's a really solid all-round rider. Who
Yeah, it
can
almost
win
feels like
races.
if you're better than Alex Marquez, you're going places.
Yeah, exactly. He feels like a great gatekeeper guy, but not a guy that's going to win a title, which is a shame because he's a great talent, and I think because of his surname and because of the brand and because of what comes with him, I think people want him to succeed, but it's just not coming together for him.